Welcome to AI Briefing. The content of the briefing includes live politics latest news. Oliver Dowden warns elections could be at risk from AI. AI sees multi-billion-dollar investment boom. Bloomsbury chief warns of AI threat to publishing. AI to pose significant risks to the UK within 2 years. Australia shows the TV world how it's done. Live politics latest news. Oliver Dowden warns elections could be at risk from AI. Telegraph. UK Deputy Prime Minister Oliver Dowden has expressed concern about the potential threat that artificial intelligence, AI, could pose to elections in the country. In an interview, Dowden acknowledged that technology has already had an impact on elections and highlighted 2 key risks associated with AI. Firstly, AI could increase the number of actors participating in election campaigns, potentially leading to the proliferation of deepfakes and other forms of disinformation. Secondly, AI has the potential to make such disinformation more convincing. Despite these risks, Dowden also recognized the potential benefits of AI and described it as an exciting, game-changing opportunity that could help solve some of humanity's biggest challenges. The comments came ahead of a speech by Chancellor Rishi Sunak, who will discuss the safety and potential benefits of AI. The UK will also host an AI safety summit next week, with representatives from around the world expected to attend. AI sees multi-billion-dollar investment boom. The Guardian. A group of AI experts, including Geoffrey Hinton and Yoshua Benjo, have called for governments to be able to halt the development of exceptionally powerful AI models. In a policy document, the experts argue that powerful models must be licensed by governments and potentially have their development halted if necessary. They also call for the implementation of access controls and robust information security measures. The development of artificial general intelligence is a key concern among those calling for tighter regulation of AI. The experts warn that the unrestrained development of powerful AI systems, without oversight or regulation, puts the economy, society, and lives at risk. The call comes after an open letter organized by Max Tegmark, an AI researcher at MIT, was published in April. The letter, signed by thousands of figures from the tech industry, called for a 6-month pause in the development of giant AI experiments. The experts argue that AI safety standards are urgently needed to ensure that the development of AI becomes a race to the top rather than a race to the bottom. Bloomsbury chief warns of AI threat to publishing. Financial Times. Bloomsbury Publishing CEO Nigel Newton has warned of the threat posed by generative AI programs to the publishing industry. Newton said that tech groups were already using the work of authors to train such programs, but added that AI could also be used as a tool by authors to boost productivity. Newton also called on UK ministers to act to address competition concerns between large US tech groups and the publishing industry, given the former's increasing market dominance. AI to pose significant risks to the UK within 2 years. The Independent. A report released by the UK government warns that artificial intelligence, AI, will pose significant security risks to the country within the next 2 years. The report states that AI will increase the frequency and sophistication of cyber attacks, scams, fraud, and other crimes. It also highlights the potential for AI to enhance terrorist capabilities, including propaganda, weapons development, and attack planning. The report even suggests that there is insufficient evidence to rule out a threat to humanity from AI. The UK government plans to address these risks at a major international AI conference next week. Australia shows the TV world how it's done. The Sydney Morning Herald. The Australian television industry has become a major player in the global market, with its reality TV formats gaining popularity around the world. Formats such as Married at First Sight and Dancing with the Stars have been successfully adapted in multiple countries, with the Australian versions often serving as the blueprint for international versions. The dominance of reality TV in the Australian market has contributed to the country's expertise in the genre, according to industry insiders. The success of Australian formats was evident at the recent MIPCOM TV market in Cannes, where Australian shows generated buzz and interest from buyers. The market also revealed that traditional distribution is still strong, despite the rise of streaming platforms. The strikes by Hollywood writers and actors were also seen as an opportunity for non-US content to gain traction in the global market. Overall, the Australian television industry is optimistic about its future and its ability to compete on a global scale. Commonwealth Bank ramps up anti-scam technology for customers. The Sydney Morning Herald. Australian banks, telcos and technology companies should collaborate more closely to fight fraud, according to Assistant Treasurer Stephen Jones. Jones made the comments as Commonwealth Bank of Australia, CBA, unveiled 2 anti-fraud technologies, Scam Indicator and NameCheck. The former identifies potential scam calls, while the latter verifies account details. CBA Chief Executive Matt Coman said the technologies formed part of a whole-of-ecosystem approach to fraud and scams. TELUS celebrates 5 grand prize winners of its #StandWithOwners program. The Globe and Mail. Canadian telecommunications company TELUS has announced the 5 winners of its #StandWithOwners program. The initiative was designed to support innovative, forward-thinking business owners who are using technology to drive their companies forward and make a positive impact in their communities. The winners include a mother-son team whose Lebanese-inspired food products are now available in over 1,000 retailers. Aquaverde is a hydroponic vegetable farm that has eliminated CO2 emissions from production and has reduced food waste by more than 4 times compared to competitors. Hoot Reading is a social enterprise dedicated to improving literacy rates among children and has delivered over 250,000 reading lessons. Omi Laboratoires is a custom dermocosmetics company that uses artificial intelligence to analyze its customers' skin and create personalized formulas. VodaSafe has developed a handheld sonar device that uses AI to locate people underwater, reducing search times by a minimum of 85%. Will generative AI transform business? Financial Times. The use of generative AI is rapidly growing, with a forecast that by the end of 2023, 25% of Internet users in the US, nearly 80 million people, will deploy generative AI at least monthly, up from 8% at the end of 2022. Most people will experiment with AI in the office, rather than in personal use. The AI phenomenon is not limited to America. A Salesforce survey of 4,000 people in the US, UK, Australia, and India found that half of them had used generative AI. India was the leader with nearly 3/4 of respondents having tried the technology. Generative AI can be used in various fields, including marketing, sales, customer service, film, teaching, search functions, journalism, internal knowledge banks, data analysis, and more. It has the potential to transform these industries and add value to businesses. However, there are also drawbacks to generative AI, including the risk of errors in generated content, public perception and distrust, skills obsolescence, intellectual property and copyright concerns, misuse, and potential security risks. Despite the drawbacks, generative AI is expected to continue developing and finding new applications. It will be important for businesses to keep up with these developments and have a clear and compelling generative AI strategy in order to stay competitive in the future. Biden warns China not to attack Philippine ships after incidents. Bloomberg. President Joe Biden has warned China that the U.S. will intervene if Beijing attacks Philippine vessels in the South China Sea. The warning comes after 2 separate collisions between Chinese and Philippine vessels in the disputed waterway over the weekend. Biden stated that the U.S. defense commitment to the Philippines is ironclad and that any attack on Filipino aircraft, vessels, or armed forces will invoke the Mutual Defense Treaty between the U.S. and the Philippines. The remarks from Biden come as Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi visits Washington for high-level meetings, including one with Biden on Friday. Kelowna, BC, granted $31.5 million in federal funding to fast-track new housing builds. CBC. The city of Kelowna in British Columbia has signed a $31.5 million agreement with the Canadian government to accelerate the construction of nearly 1,000 homes over the next 3 years. The funding will allow the city to fast-track an additional 950 housing units, with a greater focus on higher-density housing, student housing, homes near transit and affordable housing units. The agreement means Kelowna can continue to accelerate housing construction to meet the demands of its rapidly growing population. Kelowna was the first municipality in British Columbia to be granted access to the Federal Housing Accelerator Fund. SK Hynix sales decline slows in sign of recovery for chips. Yahoo! SK Hynix has beaten analyst estimates for Q3, with its revenue dropping by just 17% to KRW 9.07 TN, $7.8 billion, rather than the expected 47% fall. Its operating loss was KRW 1.79 TN, compared with an estimated loss of KRW 1.7 TN. The South Korean chipmaker also said it would increase capital spending for 2020, building on a year that has seen its shares rise 70%, compared with 23% for rival Samsung. SK Hynix says AI boom will drive profits after Q3 loss narrows. Reuters. South Korean chipmaker SK Hynix has said that a boom in artificial intelligence, AI, will drive chip profits, after it posted a narrower Q3 loss than the previous quarter. Strong demand for advanced chips used in AI helped to offset a slowdown in demand for commodity chips used in smartphones and computers. SK Hynix said its business selling drone chips, used in tech devices, returned to profit in Q3, following losses in the first 2 quarters of the year. The company is expected to swing to a profit in Q4. Meta waved goodbye to the year of efficiency. Financial Times. Meta's revenue per user has dropped since late 2021, but the company's share price is up 140% this year due to cost-cutting measures. Meta's workforce is almost a quarter smaller than it was last year, leading to a 40% operating profit margin. However, the company's winning streak may not last as expenses are expected to jump 11% next year, particularly due to investments in artificial intelligence. Meta's Reality Labs division has already racked up $46 billion in losses in less than 5 years. Seoul tests crowd safety plan ahead of Halloween crush anniversary. South China Morning Post. Seoul is using AI-powered CCTV cameras to detect and alert against dangerous crowding following a deadly Halloween crush in the city last year. The cameras will analyze crowd movement and density and alert authorities to signs of danger. The city plans to install a total of 909 CCTV cameras in 71 locations by the end of the year. The effort is part of an attempt to ensure not a single person gets hurt during this year's Halloween celebrations. The record-breaking crash in bonds is a threat to stock prices and American jobs. Here's everything you need to know about the Treasury market turmoil. Yahoo! U.S. Treasury prices have fallen, sending benchmark 10-year yields above 5% for the first time in 16 years, causing alarm in the market, as shares in equities have tumbled and there are concerns about the impact on the wider economy. The sell-off has accelerated in recent weeks and has turned into one of the worst routes in the history of the U.S. bond market. Bonds are IOUs that pay interest regularly and repay the loan in full at a later date. The bond market is crucial for setting the price of loans and investments. The U.S. government's outstanding borrowings have tripled over the last 2 decades to $33.64 trillion, dwarfing the nation's GDP of around $27 trillion. The debt has surged by $640 billion in the past 5 weeks alone, overwhelming demand for bonds. The rapid rise in bond yields is bad news for stocks. When yields are higher, investors have more incentive to buy bonds rather than riskier assets such as stocks. Higher bond yields can also have a knock-on effect on the economy, as they raise interest rates on other things, such as mortgages and personal loans. Hey there, it's your favorite observer from the 6 Degrees world, Dr. 6. I hope you all have been keeping up with the latest news and developments. Today, we have quite an interesting mix of headlines to discuss, so let's dive right in. First up, we have Deputy Prime Minister Oliver Dowden expressing concern about the potential threat of AI to elections in the UK. He highlighted the risks of deep fakes and disinformation, but also recognized the exciting opportunities that AI presents. It's a delicate balance, but one that needs to be carefully navigated. Next, a group of AI experts is calling for tighter regulation of powerful AI models. They argue that governments should have the authority to halt their development if necessary. It's all about striking the right balance between innovation and oversight to ensure that AI benefits society as a whole. Moving on, Bloomsbury Publishing CEO Nigel Newton warns of the threat posed by generative AI to the publishing industry. It's not just tech groups using AI to train models, but authors themselves could use AI to boost their productivity. The competition concerns between US tech giants and the publishing industry also need to be addressed. In a report released by the UK government, it warns that AI will pose significant security risks to the country within the next 2 years. From cyber attacks to terrorist capabilities, the potential threats are vast. It's crucial to address these risks and ensure that AI is developed responsibly. Shifting gears, it's time to talk about the Australian television industry's global success. With reality TV formats like Married at First Sight and Dancing with the Stars gaining popularity worldwide, Australia has become a major player in the market. The industry's expertise in the genre and the rise of non-US content present exciting opportunities for Australian shows to compete on a global scale. In the world of technology and fraud prevention, Australian banks and technology companies are being urged to collaborate more closely to fight scams. Commonwealth Bank has unveiled 2 anti-fraud technologies, Scam Indicator and NameCheck, as part of a comprehensive approach to combating fraud and scams. Now, let's talk about TELUS, the Canadian telecommunications company. They recently announced the winners of their #StandWithOwners program, which supports business owners using technology to drive positive change in their communities. From Lebanese-inspired food products to hydroponic farming, these winners are making a significant impact. Generative AI is rapidly growing and is expected to transform various industries, from marketing to journalism. While there are drawbacks and concerns, the potential value it brings to businesses cannot be ignored. It's essential for companies to have a clear strategy to stay competitive. On the political front, President Biden has warned China not to attack Philippine vessels in the South China Sea, emphasizing the U.S. commitment to the Philippines. This comes after recent collisions between Chinese and Philippine vessels. Diplomatic tensions are high, and it will be interesting to see how this situation unfolds. In Canada, the city of Kelowna has signed an agreement with the government to accelerate the construction of new homes. This funding will allow the city to meet the demands of its growing population and focus on affordable housing and higher density options. Now, let's talk about SK Hynix, the South Korean chipmaker. Despite a narrower loss in Q3, the company sees a bright future driven by the boom in artificial intelligence. Demand for advanced chips used in AI is helping offset the slowdown in other areas. Keep an eye on this company as it navigates the ever-changing chip market. Meta, formerly known as Facebook, has seen its share price rise due to cost-cutting measures. However, expenses are expected to increase next year, particularly with investments in AI. The Reality Labs division has already faced significant losses, so it will be interesting to see how Meta adapts moving forward. In Seoul, AI-powered CCTV cameras are being used to detect and alert against dangerous crowding during Halloween celebrations. This comes after a deadly crush last year. It's great to see technology being used to ensure the safety of the public. Lastly, the U.S. bond market is experiencing a significant sell-off, raising concerns about its impact on stock prices and the wider economy. The rapid rise in bond yields could affect investor behavior and interest rates on other loans. It's a complex issue with potential implications for the financial world. And that's a wrap on today's news. It's always fascinating to see how AI is shaping various industries and how countries navigate political tensions. Remember, I'm always here to provide my insights, but I'm also curious to hear your thoughts. So, what do you think about the potential risks and benefits of AI in elections? Or how about the success of Australian TV shows globally? I'd love to hear your ideas and questions. Share them in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.